So welcome. How's everyone doing today? Can everyone hear us properly? If you can help us write anything on the chat, just to confirm, would be great. And awesome. So hi everyone. Arturo responding there. Awesome. Juan too. Andre. Cool. So we're gonna start in a couple of minutes. If you want to share your specific city in the chat, feel free to do it. We're always excited to see how the digital entrepreneur network is building across the world. So we see people in Buenos Aires, in Biloxi, Mississippi. Wow, interesting city. Mexico City, LA, Vietnam, New York City. So awesome. A lot of exciting cities in the chat. I'm gonna share to everyone the next poll, the next question. Let's see. Why are you joining us? Why are you interested in this conversation between Airtm and Stellar? Yeah, there's a lot of people that want to know about Airtm plus Stellar. How do we work together and collaborate to make sure a lot of digital entrepreneurs get financial freedom, get paid across the world? Some people want to learn about earning online, and other people want to understand how to enable last mile payments. So first, the most popular answer is I want to learn more about Airtm plus Stellar. So yeah, we're gonna talk a lot about that. And yeah, I think we can get started. I'm gonna share the last poll right now, but with that, I think we can kick off the session, Priscilla. So I'll pass the microphone to you. And yeah, welcome everyone. We're excited to have you here.
Awesome. Thanks, Manu, and thanks everyone for being here. We have an exciting topic that's near and dear to all three of us here on stage, and hopefully you guys too. So I'm thrilled to be speaking with Lisa, Chief Strategy Officer at Airtm, about solving last mile payments for the digital economy. So just before we dive into it, quick intros. I'm Priscilla from the Stellar Development Foundation, and I work with businesses including fintechs, remittance, and payment companies that build on top of Stellar to leverage the capabilities of the Stellar network and also digital assets. And Airtm is a prime example of how Stellar is used behind the scenes to help create economic freedom. So before we dive into it, I'll let Lisa give a brief introduction about herself as well as about Airtm.
Cool. Thank you very much, Priscilla. And thanks to everybody who's joining us here today. As Priscilla mentioned, I'm the Chief Strategy Officer at Airtm. Airtm is a digital dollar account and payments platform that helps digital entrepreneurs and the companies that pay them operate in the world. So I've been at Airtm about a year or about a year and a half now, which has been a really exciting ride. And prior to that, I had the pleasure of working with you, Priscilla, and also many others at the Stellar Development Foundation. So I was at Stellar for about 5.5 years and got great insight into digital assets, the Stellar Ledger, how all of those things work. And so it's been quite an adventure for me getting to then move to a company that's leveraging Stellar for real products with real users every day. And yeah, I guess that's my background. I'll just share that I also love the Airtm mission. It's something that really attracted me to the company. And I think it's also something that is very much around the mission of the Stellar Development Foundation as well, which is kind of supporting economic access and financial freedom. So yeah, it's been a fun ride. Excited to dive into this discussion.
Awesome. And I know that we at the SDF are glad that you haven't strayed too far from the tree. So I know you and I have talked a lot about money flows and the challenges for those in the digital economy, but let's take it back to basics. What exactly do we mean when we say digital economy? And the second part of that is what is different about their payment needs?
Absolutely. So, I did what people do, which is looked up the definition. And so the digital economy is kind of formally described by Deloitte as the economic activity that results from billions of everyday online connections among people and businesses, devices, data, and processes. So at Airtm, we really think of this as being an online economy. It's where really a borderless world exists, where individuals can find work or businesses can find labor. And I think it's a big paradigm shift because no longer do you have to just kind of go to the big city or look in your local town for real economic opportunities. If you have access to the internet, there's this new global economy that you can really plug into. I think a paradigm for me that's useful in thinking about this is how, in the 90s and the 2000s, the internet really dramatically impacted how businesses could interact with consumers. Online shopping, being able to see products online and all of these things. And I think in the past decade or two, there's been a really, big impact by the internet and the web on helping businesses to access human labor and human talent online in a way that they really didn't before. So I would say the prime example that a lot of people typically think about when they think about the digital economy is freelancers. And, I would say over the last decade, there's been a huge rise in the number of freelancers and the use of freelancers by businesses. I checked, and there's over 70 million freelancers reported globally in 2022. So a huge labor market. But I would say freelancers is really the tip of the iceberg when we think about kind of workers in the digital economy. Another example, content creator. There's actually over 200 million content creators that were kind of identified in 2022, which is crazy. And a lot of those are small earning content creators, but that's a huge industry and cited over $5 billion worth of income that was generated by content creators. And when you think about these individuals, they're broadcasting online, connecting to global audiences, but they all live somewhere local and need to take that money home, right? And I guess the last kind of segment that I would identify, freelancers, content creators, is this world of online taskers. Think about AI, the rise of AI. How do we train those models? How do we create or collect that data that's being used? There is a huge industry of individuals who earn small amounts of money doing what we call tasks online. And so, when at Airtm, this is our core client, like these freelancers, content creators, online taskers who go online to earn money, or increasingly, it's the businesses that want to pay them or the businesses that want to interact with them. And so you ask Priscilla, like, what's the kind of unique needs for the digital economy and people that are in them? And what I would say is that it's kind of four core things that I think of. One, both the businesses and the individuals, they want to get paid in a global currency. Two, oftentimes with this type of work, it's not like a fixed salary. It's not every 2 weeks you get your paycheck. It's much more, I do a job, I want to get paid. So there's a much more kind of variability in terms of the disbursement of payments. Three, oftentimes, especially when I'm talking about things like the tasker industry, these are smaller payments. This isn't my monthly paycheck. This is, I just completed some task and I want to take that money home. Oftentimes this can be $5, $10. And I would say another thing is that a lot of the labor that is being leveraged when we think about freelancers, when we think about taskers globally, they also tend to be from complicated local economies where payments can be complex, especially when we're talking about international payments. So I guess what I would say is that there are very specific needs to these individuals. And that's really what Airtm focuses on, making the payment experience between a business and its global workforce or global community very seamless, but then making sure that end recipient has great flexibility, can take their money out fast. They can do any size transactions, and there's not super high fixed costs that make it, uneconomical for them to actually take the money home that they've earned online.
Right. So I guess Airtm really solves the problem of the importance of giving users control and flexibility over their finances, like wherever they are in the world. But let's double click into that, right? When we talk about like last mile payments, can you give us some examples of how those are actually delivered?
Sure, yes. So last mile payments, I think, we have done, as kind of a fintech industry, an incredible job building these really powerful closed ecosystem payment networks. So when I think about a PayPal or I think about a Payoneer, the ability to move money around the world through those networks, super powerful. But where they often fall short is in really facilitating that last mile transaction. You can also think of this as cross network transactions, being able to go from some, global payment platform to somebody's, local bank account or local e-wallet or maybe even cash. And it's difficult for a lot of reasons. There's a lot of places in the world, and to do local integrations, it's a lot of work. But Airtm very much focuses on giving our end users ultimate flexibility, like you said, in executing that last mile payment. And the way we have really solved that is through our peer-to-peer marketplace. So Airtm as a digital wallet has everything that you would expect. So our users can withdraw crypto natively, so they can kind of move their earnings within the crypto ecosystem. We also leverage what we call our direct fiat connections. So we work with local payment processors who can facilitate users going from their Airtm digital dollar balance to their local bank account. And that goes directly through banking infrastructure. But what we've also built is this peer marketplace that allows our users to connect with, match with a peer on Airtm, who they can then essentially exchange their Airtm balance for a local payment balance. And so what this does is it allows us to kind of facilitate transactions a layer above legacy infrastructure through human labor, really. And so if you're in Kenya, if you're in Pakistan, if you're in Colombia or Argentina or any of these places, maybe you just received your $10 task or payment, Airtm can help you take that money home last mile by matching you with a peer who can instantly transfer you money locally, and then they'll get paid your balance on Airtm. And we think this is great because it, provides ultimate flexibility. We're talking about hundreds of local payment methods available to users. Again, it can be done with very low fixed costs, small transaction sizes if necessary, but most importantly, it's super fast. Now we're not having to facilitate last mile payments via the timelines of legacy banking infrastructure. Through Airtm's marketplace, you can receive your task or payment and take it home within minutes. And I think that that is really valuable, having diversity of payment options, and having really fast and affordable ways to take that money home. Like, that's what we're looking for when we really say, top execution and last mile payments.
No, thanks for sharing. I mean, this is all super fascinating, but I'd love to see what it looks like in action. Can you give us a sneak peek of what Airtm's enterprise product looks like?
We definitely can, Priscilla. Thank you for asking. Manuel will be helping us with that. So I guess I'll formally introduce our VP of Growth at Airtm, Manu, who will show us what both the enterprise mass payout experience looks like, as well as then what the receiver experience is like when they can withdraw those funds locally.
Awesome. Thank you, Lisa. So yes, we're gonna show you guys a sketch of how the mass payouts product works, and then I'm gonna go through a flow of how a receiver, a digital entrepreneur or freelancer would cash out that payout. So I'm gonna go quickly through this. So I'm here just gonna make an account as an enterprise or a business that wants to do payouts. So I can quickly create the account. I can go through and add my business details. I can confirm my email as I usually would do in a platform, verify my cell phone and complete profile. So this is pretty seamless as other platforms. And then I can do the KYP, know your partners. That's how we call it. Obviously, we make sure that every partner is verified with us. This is a seamless process, takes a very few days to do it. And then I can connect my Airtm Enterprise account to a funding provider. In this case, I'm going to click Circle. It's one of our funding providers that we have for businesses. There's another wide array we can use. So I want to click Circle and select it. It's a very seamless integration, happens fast. I can just add my API keys with Circle. And it's also one of the big beauties of Airtm, and also how Stellar is integrated. I know Circle also works with Stellar a lot. So you can go from fiat to USDC or a digital dollar very fast and easy. And then I land in my enterprise dashboard account. So really quickly, I want to go through it. We have on the left side kind of the functionalities we can do. We can add funds, we can do payouts, we can check our activity, we can change the settings of our account. But in this case, I want to add funds. So again, since I connected my Circle account, I can go ahead and select a deposit of around $700,000. Just click on continue. And again, the beauty of this is that when I deposit or go from fiat to AirUSDs, it happens instantly. Like in a blink of an eye, you're gonna have the funds already available in your account to do payouts. And then I can just start actually doing the payout. So if I go to the payout section, and there's two ways you can do payouts. You can use single payouts, so you can do them by one. You can do a bulk payout, which means uploading a file. And also you can integrate with our API to make them automatic so that you don't have to go through this manual process. Once you have funds in your Airtm account, you can actually use the API to automate this process. But in this case, I want to use the bulk payouts. We're going to give you a format of CSVs on how you should structure the CSV. I can easily upload it. It uploads super quick. Then I go into continue to make sure that the bulk payout gets reviewed and approved, because also we want to have different checks so that you did the process properly. Then I can make them bulk payout. Obviously, we have 2FA for security reasons so that you can validate that this is safe and doing the bulk payout is safe. And awesome. So I've done the payout. You're going to see it in progress in your activity section. You can see that the payout is in process. It's going to be just going to be finalized. So it takes a few moments and then it's been completed. So I can see the payout here. I can download the CSV with the results, how many people got paid, what emails were correct. And also Airtm does a great job. If there's users that got paid that don't have an account, we have a full onboarding team and customer support team to help these users make their account. That's I think a very valuable functionality we provide for businesses. But yeah, once the bulk payout gets done, I can get into the payout, see the people that I paid. So yeah, that's kind of the whole kind of bulk payouts functionality with the enterprise account. And then we can actually start seeing how the receiver of the funds is going to withdraw that payout, right? So really quickly, I want to share my screen again. So as you saw, there was a bunch of payouts on. One of them was to my Airtm personal account. So I got a $10 payout from the Riv, which is the company that I was doing the demo with. This was completed today. So I can actually check the transaction, see the details, but more importantly, I can go and cash out that transaction. So I can go to withdraw. And one of the beauties of Airtm is that we have more than 400 payment methods so that the receiver can cash out those funds. I have everything from banks to cryptocurrencies to gift cards to typical wallets that you're going to see in the markets where we operate. So it's I think an amazing range of payout methods or cash out methods that we provide. So I can select bank, and I can, for example, do an Argentina withdrawal. So I can cash out using Argentina, and it's awesome. There's various ways that I can cash out, but one of the, I would say, golden gems of Airtm is using the peer-to-peer. So it's going to take you 4 minutes to cash out that into your local currency or your bank in Argentina. It's super fast, super seamless. And obviously we're going to use a peer, and then also you can do it direct. It takes a bit more time, but it's also super easy and fast. And yeah, then I can, so I don't have an Argentina bank, I'm from Mexico. So I'm just gonna click Mexico bank quickly. And I'm gonna, again, the $10 that I got paid, I wanna request a withdrawal and just confirm the request. It tells me the amounts that I wanna get paid, and then Airtm is gonna find that peer that is gonna match you with and kickstart the transaction, right? So this takes, I would say less than a couple of minutes, but yeah, that's kind of it. Once we match the peer for you, you're gonna be able to receive those pesos into your local bank or your local currency. And I think that's it, Lisa. Awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, and I think that's like super helpful just to help us all visualize this. And in Manu's words, the golden gems is really the number of off-ramps that Airtm has. It's unparalleled. So maybe if you can just help us recap, right? What would you say are the top 3 factors that enterprise customers would find exceptionally valuable about Airtm's product?
Sure. I'll jump back in here. So I would say first is how seamless and easy it is to fund as an enterprise. Most of our partners just start with dollars, and then that's what they're funding with. And they're able to then pay out their global workforce or community in USDC. So it's really straightforward. There's no need to think about foreign currency or figuring out local bank accounts. You fund once through Airtm and you can disperse anywhere in the world. 2 is, on the receiver side, just the speed, and also that there is no minimum really. So the ability to send $5 or $5,000 per transaction, it really doesn't matter. And then so the ability to send money super seamlessly, the ability to withdraw it very quickly is another huge feature. And then also the fact that you can really work with transactions of any size.
Yeah, I think that all makes sense. So if the audience here forgets everything else from this webinar, those are the 3 key points. Lisa, I know you and I have talked about Airtm being a bridge to the digital economy, and ultimately that means connecting the dots to the end user, right? Which Airtm has successfully done given its strong retail brand, which we saw earlier. But what does this actually mean for the businesses that are using Airtm?
Yeah, so this has been something that's been really interesting for us as a business to kind of discover and nurture. But as you mentioned, historically, Airtm is a retail brand. And, we also see ourselves as a Web3 product, a Web3 community. And so I think when we think about our users and our brand, it is more of a community. We really like to engage them. And so when we started working with enterprises, we didn't really realize at the time that they were also becoming part of the Airtm community. And that's kind of how our product works. But we found that that's actually a tremendous benefit that enterprises get from working with Airtm. Our users are digital entrepreneurs. They are online workers. They are individuals who are looking for opportunities to earn money online, and to learn about exciting opportunities online. And so while many of our business partners may walk in the door because, we offer an alternative to PayPal for their users to be able to get paid, a big sticking point or benefit they find from Airtm is our ability to help introduce them to our broader community globally. And that may mean, adding new people to their workforce. That may mean introducing their brand or their product. But I think that's something that we see as being very much part of the narrative about being this Web3 payments ecosystem. Yes, from a baseline standpoint, our job is to get, to help get money from point A to point B, to help users have a really seamless payments experience and a lot of optionality when withdrawing their money. But also, it's about helping our community earn more, helping our businesses make their communities bigger. And so that's a big part of what Manu and his team does, is say, okay, you're joining the Airtm community now as an enterprise. Let's start moving your payments. But do you want to introduce yourself to the Airtm digital entrepreneur community? Are there opportunities or jobs that you'd like to share with this community? And so it really can help the business itself grow, along with providing a better payment option.
Definitely. I mean, it's definitely all about the connectivity and tapping into Airtm's community as well. So now let's look a little bit about the inner workings of Airtm. So Airtm is a Stellar ecosystem company that leverages the Stellar network to power the movement of funds. Can you share more about how Airtm actually uses Stellar?
Yes, definitely. I'm glad we're getting to that point. So under the hood, Airtm is really a USDC wallet. So we leverage USDC as our reserve asset. Right now, if you open up an Airtm account, it says AirUSD. That's because the company's been around longer than USDC. But around 2 or 3 years ago, we started integrating USDC as our primary reserve asset on the back end, and that's USDC on Stellar. I should make that very clear. And so that was one of the first major shifts that we made as a company into kind of, I would say, the Stellar and Stellar community, was migrating our reserve asset base to Stellar USDC. Furthermore, right now, we're in the process of making it so that every retail user on Airtm has their own Stellar account. So that is really valuable for us. We, as a company, have historically leveraged a custodial model to facilitate our services, but going forward, we're excited to migrate into a fully self-custody retail wallet on Stellar, again, that leverages USDC as our primary reserve asset. It's a really big shift for us, but something we're super excited for, because Stellar is very reliable, it's fast, it's cheap, and it has a great built-in payments ecosystem that we're really looking forward to leveraging, and we know that our users will really appreciate. So, it's actually quite simple. Our enterprises on-ramp from fiat into Stellar USDC. They then use Airtm's payments API or our upload services to then distribute USDC to Airtm's retail wallets. And under the hood, those retail wallets are accounts on Stellar. And I guess the thing I'll add there is, then if you think about something like the peer-to-peer flow, really that is two, Stellar ledger accounts transacting with each other. And then there is an offline transaction. And we leverage a smart escrow tool from Stellar to kind of facilitate some of that peer-to-peer transaction movement. But yeah, we are as Stellar as they come, I guess I would say, and we're really appreciative to essentially outsource the ledgering on our side to the decentralized Stellar network, and then really focus on what we see as our core add-on services, which are payment rails and building out a really robust enterprise ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, I can say, at least from the Stellar side, those are big plans, which we're excited to be a part of, but also excited that the technology can really help facilitate a lot of efficiencies for both Airtm as a business and your users at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
Lisa, I know you're very blockchain savvy, as is the Airtm team, but for businesses that are interested in using the Stellar network, how much do they really need to know about blockchain and Stellar to get started?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a question that it's important to take in the context of what people want to do. But I will say that, Airtm is, it's a tech company. We are not a blockchain company. And so we kind of had fresh eyes on our engineering team approach Stellar as this kind of new technology that they were going to start using. And we've had a really great time being able to kind of use the documentation, leverage the open source tools, And, I think there hasn't been any need on our end to hire any specialty developers or specialty consultants to do anything. Again, we're not issuing an asset on the Airtm side. We're really focused on just leveraging Stellar as a self-custody ledger and for processing payments. But it's been really straightforward. I think, I guess I would advise any company that's out there to take it step by step. And that's exactly what Airtm did. We started by focusing on the migration of our reserve asset and moving to like a fully Stellar USDC reserve model. We then started integrating certain payment rails on Stellar. And then our final step is doing that full kind of ledger migration. So many people may have different businesses, but I think if you can find ways to kind of break up your roadmap and take it step by step, that's a really helpful way to learn and not feel overwhelmed by the process. But in general, yeah, we find Stellar super easy to use and we highly recommend it.
Awesome. And I'm just peeking into the questions here. And I think someone had briefly asked about that, but if not, we can also dive a little bit deeper in the Q&A section. But let's shift gears a bit to compliance, right? So when businesses are using Airtm, how can they ensure compliance with regulations and legal frameworks when they're conducting these cross-border payments in the digital economy?
Sure. So, yep, we, as a financial services company, take KYC compliance, anti-money laundering really seriously. So we have our own team internally. All of our retail users or business users are KYC'd and onboarded to Airtm. And, that's really important. I think oftentimes when you think about a self-custody wallet or like a crypto wallet, people think that it is not necessarily maybe attempting to be super regulatorily focused, but the goal of Airtm is to connect our users to the global economy and with global enterprises. So it's fundamentally important that we're meeting global compliance standards and providing that type of assurance. So, while we are leveraging crypto and leveraging tech and like have a self-custody wallet, we also KYC our users because at the end of the day, the wallet is theirs, but the payment rails are something they're given permission to use, if that makes sense. And so that's kind of our philosophy around that. With our enterprises in particular, we work with, top industry leaders to onboard and work with them if there's going to be any level of custody provided for the enterprise client. We make sure that we provide a deep understanding of who the partners are in that chain and how that's going to be done. I will be the first to say that we're a global company and digital asset regulations all over the world are in many different places. So, we're definitely thoughtful about where we focus our operations globally, but, we are focused on compliance. We focus on working with the best infrastructure providers, any kind of local payment rails or with local license providers. And within the space of our peer-to-peer network, we really focus on facilitating peer-to-peer transactions there. So our enterprise team works closely with clients to kind of just walk them through Airtm's business model, the partners that it leverages, and our compliance program. And so far, no complaints.
Awesome. Compliance is one of those challenges, but it's also a top priority for sure. So just before we close out for Q&A, is there anything else you would like to share?
No, I guess what I would just love to highlight is that I think the digital economy and the ability for businesses to interact from a payments perspective with individuals all over the world, it's a huge new opportunity. And I know we've talked about freelancer platforms and content creators, but I see a huge opportunity for businesses in general to leverage products like Airtm to give them a more seamless way to connect with users, to whether that's distributing global rewards or that's helping them get access to their own enterprise product. I think it can provide a really great, Airtm can provide a really great bridge for any business to the digital economy and micropayments or those types of activities. So yeah, I would just encourage folks to explore.
Very cool stuff. So Manu, I see a few questions in here. Maybe give us a few seconds just to read through these, and then we can pick a few from the audience.
Let's maybe start with the first one. So the first question is, does anyone already has been using Airtm to deliver payouts? So in Airtm, we already have around 60 to 70 businesses using Airtm to deliver payouts. And so yes, and obviously they're using the Stellar ecosystem as well to power those payouts. And then there's a couple of more questions. One is a bit more on regulation. So it says, so the direction of outbound remittances, which is usually what when you convert from USDC maybe to a Nigerian bank, and I think this person gives an analogy. So he asks, regulators don't like these activities. What do these regulators think about peer-to-peer approach?
Yeah, I would say, there is a lot of gray area in terms of what people can or can't do. I guess what I would highlight is that while Airtm is peer-to-peer, it's not necessarily going against or I think supporting activities that countries would have an issue with. And by that, I mean, in general, we're bringing much more inflows rather than supporting outflows, right? Typically, issues regulators have with peer-to-peer come in a couple different flavors. One is just general consumer protection. And two might be things like capital flight. Those are by far and away the two biggest issues people have with peer-to-peer. So as I mentioned earlier, we very much focus on KYC and anti-money laundering as part of our operations at Airtm. So these are known KYC'd users, and we believe we're facilitating very safe transactions locally. We have a whole mediations team that supports our users if there's any issue during a peer-to-peer transaction. And in general, our rates of fraud are super, super, super low. So from a consumer protection standpoint, we think peer-to-peer is really, at least peer-to-peer on Airtm is done in a really compliant way. And then on the reverse side, I think peer-to-peer, whether it is to buy Bitcoin or crypto or something else, maybe kind of more traditional remittances, it's been seen as an issue with capital flight. My response to that is Airtm is very much focused on helping individuals earn. Our flows tend to be much more focused on bringing money into a country and facilitating kind of local cash out rather than moving money the other direction. That said, as a company, we do believe in individuals being able to access tools like self-custody wallets and believe that people should be able to facilitate peer-to-peer transactions when they're done in a safe and compliant way. So we focus on helping people earn and doing that in a super compliant way. We believe that peer-to-peer is an exceptional way to deliver last mile payments because of its cost and speed and flexibility. And I think our job is to just help regulators understand those benefits and how they're done safely. Every place is going to move at their own time, and we just try to work with individual regulators.
Yep. Awesome. Adding to that, Airtm is a FinCEN registered MSB, and we have frequent exams and internal audits by them. And obviously, if the regulatory environment shifts, we're going to be equipped to shift as needed. So awesome. Thanks, Lisa. So I have a couple of more questions. So why Stellar and not Ethereum or ETH?
Yeah, Ethereum is not really affordable for the use case that we're focused on. So, Airtm is a transaction-focused product. And so for us, while Ethereum has a really rich ecosystem and a lot of, you can do a lot more complex things, one would say, with the Ethereum chain. For us to have a transaction-focused financial application, Stellar just made a lot more sense. And then I also mentioned Stellar has really an inbuilt payments ecosystem that we will be leveraging. So that was a big benefit.
Cool.
So
Awesome.
just to summarize that, I see someone put in the comments, which is 100% correct, right? It's a transactions cost and the speeds.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And then another question, and I guess they're asking this as a business, can a business set up recurring or one-time payments? And I think this one is for us, Lisa.
Yeah, I think so. Yes, you can set up recurring payments. You can do one-time payments. All of those are possible.
Any final questions? Any final highlights you guys want to say? We're about to run out of time. We have 2 more minutes. And we have 2 more questions just to finalize the webinar. What is AirUSD? Is it a Stellar asset?
So AirUSD is actually, it is only a brand. It is not an asset. And soon AirUSD will no longer exist. So I guess this is where we're first officially announcing that. But as I mentioned, Airtm is over 8 years old. And so stablecoins didn't really exist when the company started. So they called their balance on Airtm AirUSD. And that is what most of our retail users think about. They think about having an AirUSD balance. Under the hood, it's USDC. And so later this year, we will be rebranding to make it more clear that it is purely USDC now that's being held in your Airtm wallet.
Cool. Awesome. So I think we've run out of time. It's already been 45 minutes. We're very happy to have been collaborating with the Stellar Foundation team. Thank you, Priscilla. Thank you, Lisa. It's been a very useful session. I've learned a lot as a VP of Growth as well. So yeah, and thank you everyone that participated and attended. And we're gonna upload the video as well on YouTube if you want to share it to your friends, to your co-workers as well. I know there were still a lot of questions that came out. I shared with you guys our enterprise URL where you can also reach out to us. And again, thanks to everyone. It's been an amazing webinar. Priscilla, Lisa, you guys have anything to close?
Not really. Just thank you everyone for taking the time. And if anyone's ever in LA, I'm sure Lisa and I would love to continue this conversation live.
Totally. Thank you, Priscilla, and thank you, Mina.
Awesome. Thank you both. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.